See, I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm not a psychologist either. So you might wonder, why is Varun Maya making a video about 3 best brain hacking devices he's used? The truth is, I'm neither of these things, but I am an engineer. And I take a very systems approach to the human body. Many decades ago, we thought the human body has a soul. And many religions still believe the human body has a soul. Now, I'm not gonna agree or disagree with that viewpoint. What I am gonna say is, over the years, we have figured out that the human body actually has many systems that work in concert with each other. The medical field has been able to manipulate each of these systems. See, the medications in the last 20-30 years were very untargeted. If you took an antihistamine from 20 years ago, it not only treated your allergy, it also made you sleepy, right? We had a lot of off-target. We call these dirty drugs. But today, we have very precise drugs, monoclonal antibodies, that can target one very specific part of the body. The thing is, as I learn more about the body from more of an engineering approach, I've realized that this is an electromechanical device. It can be manipulated and used just like any other tool. And we need to be smart enough to understand where and when to intervene. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the 3 experiments I tried. As a hacker, as an engineer, so it's a very different perspective somebody from medicine would have. And please listen with some caution, because the last thing I want is for you to go hurt yourself using one of these tools in the wrong way. Do not try this at home. So I've tried a lot of brain hacking devices, and I'm only going to tell you the 3 top ones. Split the tools that I've used into 2 parts. Tools that read from the brain, that are able to read signals from the brain in the body. And then there are tools that allow you to affect the brain in the body. More like writing tools. Today, the writing tools, the things that allow you to manipulate the brain and body, are still quite crude. We haven't been able to get very specific about it yet. But I've still tried them, and here are my experiences. So first tool I've tried is something called the TDCS. Transcranial direct current stimulation. A TDCS has 2 electrodes, sometimes more, that you put in different parts of the brain. You can have setups like this, or like this, or like this. What you end up doing is putting a little bit of current through a device to your brain. What happens is, when you create this electric gradient, current flows in that direction, stimulates certain parts of your brain. Now we use a much more powerful form of this with magnets and something called electroconvulsive therapy, which works very well for diseases like depression. So I tried TDCS because I heard that it can make you chill, and I want to take an actual approach to it. So I've tried many different electrode configurations, and to be honest, I was a little bit underwhelmed. The thing is, the articles, even the research papers, the news about it was all very positive. That, oh, this is going to be revolutionary, and I found that it didn't really do so much for me. But nothing fancy, nothing that justified spending 30 minutes using it and all the money I spent on it. It did not justify spending $200 and, the 30 minutes I spent using it. And I've used it multiple times. So at the end of it, I just kind of put it down as the placebo effect. The next thing I tried was something called transauricular vagal nerve stimulator. It's actually an FDA approved treatment for epilepsy and depression, where they actually surgically put in electrodes near your vagus nerve. It's somewhere here, right? And on the other side. So they actually put electrodes there, and you can stimulate it once a day or twice a day. And it connects the brain, the gut, and the immune system. So it's the gut-brain axis. And it turns out that manipulating it can manipulate a lot of the areas in the brain and also manipulate a lot of the areas in the gut. The version I tried was something which is put on the ear, because it turns out this is where the vagus nerve ends, and it can be stimulated from here as well. Unfortunately, when stimulating it from here, you also stimulate a bit of the trigeminal nerve. So you got to be a little bit careful about that. It also turns out that vagal nerve stimulation improves autoimmune disease. It has a track record of improving disease like arthritis and inflammatory bowel disease. So a lot of benefits, and I definitely wanted to give it a spin. So I put it on and I used it, and after maybe like 20 or 30 minutes of using it, I felt very chill. And this wasn't a placebo effect, because every single time I've done it after that, I felt very chill. For some reason, my appetite also decreases. I feel like eating much lesser. And sometimes when I increase the amplitude of the current too much, I feel like gagging. It's called the vagal gag reflex. So I feel like, vomiting to a certain extent. That's why I don't use it at high doses or for too long a time. But I found it to be pretty nice. And the fact that it's non-invasive, and this time you don't have to do a surgery, and the fact that the one that requires surgery is FDA approved for certain diseases, makes me confident that this is going to become a mainstream tool. The only problem is that in the USA, for a tool like this, people are charging $2,000 to $3,000, which is a rip-off. I'm not sure what these guys are thinking when they add their markups, especially the US medical companies, But yeah, you should be able to get it under $100. I do not recommend you guys using this. This is a medical device. Go ask your doctor first. So I've spoken about two devices that can write to the brain or, major nerves. But I also want to talk about one device that can read from the brain. I've used something called the emotive. It has a bunch of electrodes connected to your brain that can read brain signals. Now this is very similar to the Neuralink, except it's lower resolution and has less electrodes. The Neuralink is surgically implanted directly into your brain. The emotive is something where you wet your head and then put this thing on. I actually use the emotive to lift a block in a 3D game with just my mind. It blew me away, but I also feel like it's not the most accurate tool to use. For example, I had created an association between thinking of a mouse and moving the block. So whenever I thought about a mouse, the block moves upwards. And sometimes I'll think about a mouse with a different color and the block would still move upward. So I'm not sure exactly how it's creating that map or what signal is coming out when I think about particular things, but it's really not the most accurate device that I've used, but it's still pretty cool. I feel Neuralink will, move one step on top of this, and we'll be able to turn on the lights in our house or play some music by just thinking about it. It is going to happen. I can't wait for the day. Unfortunately, you'll need a surgical implant, but I feel like at that point in the future, people will be okay with putting in surgical implants for godlike powers. Imagine, you're holding your hands behind your back, not pressing any buttons, just thinking, Alexa, play Boulevard of Broken Dreams. And just plays. It feels so godlike. You can turn on the lights, turn off the lights just by thinking about it. So I feel there are benefits, and I'm curious to see who gets the surgery, and I feel many people will wait for the first wave of people getting the surgery and then try it the next time. So interesting to see what happens there. That's it for me. Bye.